Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20 and welcome to episode 78 of Direwolf20's Let's Play series. I am chopping down trees manually at my automated tree chopping down farm. How much sense does that make? Well, it makes a little bit of sense, believe it or not. I'm hoping that the axe of the stream here will work for the purposes of which I'm looking to get done. We will see. I'm chopping down specifically the types of trees that come from witchery. So we've got hawthorn trees here, and we've got alder trees here. And just because I turned off the automated thing, I just put a lever on the machine over there, I am chopping down the other trees just to keep things tidy. I don't like half chopped down trees in my area here. So let's see. Oh, there's an ant. Hello, Mr. Ent. How are you? So typically, chopping down a lot of these trees, like rowan and alder and all the other trees from witchery, can sometimes cause some of the natural balance and order to be upset. And this will cause Ents to spawn. And that's exactly what I was looking to have happen, and it looks like it just did. Dun, dun, dun. So this guy is actually pretty cool. One thing I would like to get before I go into battle with that Ent, because believe it or not, he's a pretty tough fight. I want to make sure I've got all the stuff I need. And I want to get another Arthana. Do I have that thing handy? Arthana. I might have left it in my chest back in my witchery area. Let's take a look. Ah, there we are, Arthana. Now I've got two options here, really. I could capture this Ent in a safari net, but I think I'm just going to kill him outright. It doesn't look like they're too difficult to spawn. Hey there, buddy. How are you? Ent. He doesn't look happy either, does he? No, he does not. I guess he's not going to attack me until I attack him. Alright, let's do it. Come here, you. Haha. Oh boy, yeah. See, he's not happy. I guess I happened to catch him inside some trees here, which is pretty lucky for me. I do want to kill him. Yeah, look how much health he has. That's a lot of health. I do want to kill him with the Arthana, by the way. Oh, nice. That's cool. Hey, did I get what I wanted to get? I did. I got an Ent twig. Nice. The Ent twig is going to be useful for a few things. You can actually use it to make a couple nifty gadgets. We'll get into some of that in a bit here. But otherwise, it looks like this forest, I'm pretty sure at this point I've got enough of all the different types of trees that I want to have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this redstone signal applied to this harvester here. There's really no reason to let this thing keep churning away. We've got a ton of saplings and trees and all that kind of good stuff. We'll, you know, turn it back on if we ever need to, obviously. But we might even, you know, replace what's out there with something else. Who knows? But we've got a giant harvester and stuff set up to go. So killing mobs from witchery with the Arthana increases their chance to drop the good stuff that you want to get. And I'm pretty happy that I got the Ent twig, because that's exactly what I was going for, and it wasn't that hard, actually. So I've got the Ent twig. What am I going to do with it? Well, the first thing I'd like to do is convert that Ent twig into a mutating sprig. This thing's actually pretty useful. Let's take a look. For this, we're going to need some Mutandis extremis. Mutandis extremis is simply Mutandis surrounded with around another wart there like that. So let's get some. Mutandis extremis. Oh good, we've already got some Mutandis, so now we can upgrade that. I'm going to get, you know, 16 of them, that should be good. And then we just put this stuff around the Ent twig, and we've got the mutating sprig. This thing has a couple different neat effects. Basically, the mutating sprig is like a more focused form of the Mutandis, where Mutandis is totally random. The mutating sprig allows you to do a bunch of different things. It allows you to make a couple neat devices that are part of witchery. And one of the other things you can do is if you happen to find some dirt underwater, let's see, what do we got? Any dirt down here? You can mutate dirt directly into, you ready for this? If I can hold still for a minute. Clay. Haha, cool. So that's a neat way to get clay. That's one option that you can do. You can also convert directly grass, ta-da, into mycelium. Nice. And mycelium back into grass. So that's another option that you can do with. Obviously, those aren't the main things I'm going to work on here. There's a couple other things I want to do with witchery right now that I'd like to get into, and I needed this mutating sprig to get started. The other thing I'm going to need here, before we really get too far, is something that I know is going to be hard for me to find. Alright, so that's going to be tricky. And let's see, what do I have in Safari Net? So far I've got a Safari Net with a wolf in it, which is good because we actually do want that. But let me get a couple more Safari Nets. I'm going to have to go out into the world, and there's a couple types of mobs that I need to find. And having a Safari Net on hand will be very, very useful for my future plans with this stuff. So let me just make a few of these. I mean, I've got plenty of Ender Pearls, and yeah, I've got plenty of gas tiers. All right, cool. So maybe one more Safari Net would be pretty useful to have. Cool. All right, let me go out into the world. I need to find a couple very specific things. I'll be back. You know what? I'm going to come up with something else to do as well. I need to find a slime. I'll tell you that's one of the things I need to find. And a good way to track down slimes is to get yourself a slimealizer. Slimealizers are super neat and useful. They're basically going to turn green and alert you when you're inside of a chunk that can spawn slimes. So let's look around out here and see if we can't find one real quick. I'm just going to zip around. Hey, there we go. Found one. So this is a slime chunk. If you guys are familiar with vanilla Minecraft mechanics, you'll know that certain chunks are capable of spawning slimes. So anywhere inside this chunk, slimes will spawn. Anywhere outside of it, they will not. Okay. So let's see. Oh, we might actually have one. Oh, we have two slime chunks right next to each other. That's kind of nice. That's not terribly uncommon, but, you know, it happens now and again. A good way to get slimes to spawn, though, is to head deep underground and find yourself a spawn chunk. And let's see. I want to make sure I've got a couple tools with me that'll be useful for clearing out large amounts of terrain. So let's open up my tools chest here. I've got my hammer. I've got my hammer. Good. So I'm just going to basically go downstairs, clear out a large chunk of terrain in an area that's designated a slime spawning chunk, and hopefully we can get a slime to spawn, and I'd like to capture it in a Safari Net. So that's one of the first pieces of work that I want to get done today. So good way to do this is way down, way down in the deep of the earth. So somewhere down here, hopefully there's a slime spawner, and we can get some slimes. All right, I will be back in a few minutes once I find a chunk with slimes in it. Come on, any? I guess we'll be back. There's a creeper. Does that help? It does not. So while flying around and looking for a nice little place to call home for slime spawning, I did step out into a jungle real quick and encounter one of the creatures that I'm going to need here. Come here, you. Stop running away from me. Gotcha. Haha. Ocelot. Thank you. I'll be back. Alright guys, you know what I thought would be really cool? Wouldn't it be awesome if I found a chunk spawner that can do slimes in this big old area? Ha, guess what? I did. It's this chunk right here. This one is a slime chunk, and as you can see, because I mined out this entire chunk, it's pretty much the perfect place to try and spawn slimes. All we need to do is light up the area so that mobs can't spawn in here, like you, Mr. Creeper. So let's see. Guessing maybe F7 doesn't work down here. That's interesting. Alright, so I'm going to have to do my best to just make sure the area is well lit. So, that's kind of the plan. So what I'm going to do is try and make sure that I can maybe get some slimes to spawn down here. We'll have to see. I actually don't know if slimes spawn in daylight. I'm guessing they do. I'm thinking they do. Yeah, they must. So I'm just going to kind of hang out in the area here and see if we can't get any slimes to spawn in this slime spawning chunk that we happen to be in. Right there. Cool. I did have, by the way, a bunch of water filling it up, which is why I had to cover this up with a bunch of wood to kind of block it off, and a cobble here. You can see I blocked off all the water to prevent it from flowing into the chunk. Unfortunately, the entire chunk was completely, covered in water, so I had to clean that up. All right, back in a few once we get some slimes, hopefully. You know what? I'm not actually out here hunting for bats, but I'm going to grab one because I know I'm going to need one. Come here, you guys. So hard to catch. Gotcha. Nice. Alright, back to hunting for slimes. I'm actually looking around in a swamp biome right now, because I know you can get those in the swamp biomes as well sometimes. Come on, slimes, where are you at? I spy a pahi creeper. So, I don't know if it helped, but I built up this area here in cobblestone, because I wasn't sure if they could spawn directly on the flat bedrock like that. And shortly after doing that, it worked. So, I don't know if that helped or not, but I've got a slime. And that's good enough for me. I will take that. So let's get out of here. Alright, so this chest right outside my mob spawning area has kind of been where I've been keeping stuff like bat, slime, ocelot, that kind of thing. So I've got the slime. Finally. It took me literally probably like an hour. But luckily you guys didn't have to see that. So now what I'm going to need is a couple of slimes and an ocelot. Yeah. So let's get those handy and ready. Real quick and easy, I'm just going to basically open the door, flip on the switch that's labeled Enderman, which is really just, you know, a spawner here. And I'm going to take this guy out. I'm going to put slimes in there, and I'd like to get 4 slimes of the small size. So let's see what happens. Will you spawn a couple slimes for me? And I'm going to turn off the lever once I've got what I need. Oh, that's plenty. Hey, where'd you go? Oh, right, the grinders are on still. I guess I don't have on-off switches for them, do I? Probably not. Do I have access to any levers? I never really considered using this room for manual purposes, so I never set up a lever to turn on and off the grinders. There we go. Maybe not. Guess you don't work that way? That'll do it. Oh, you know what? Probably because that's a stone cover. There we go. So let's try that again. Enderman lever, which I should probably relabel at this point, and get ourselves 4, I think small slimes will do. That's good enough for me. You turn off. 1. Party hat slime. I thought you guys were off, grinders. Oh well, I need 1 more. And then I'm also going to need an ocelot. And I don't want to use the one that's in there right now because I want to be able to spawn these guys again if I need. Come on now. Spawn me a slime. There we go. Wow, what is killing these things? These guys are both off, right? Yes, idle. They're not running. Wonder if it's... There's no grinders near here, really. I'm not really sure what's killing them. Ha! Awesome slime. Alright, that's good enough for me. Come here, you. Get out of there. Now give me an ocelot. In the meantime, I'll put this slime in there. And get me an ocelot. Come here, you. Gotcha. Cool. Alright. So that is that. Oh, I got slime plant seeds. Nice. I'll use them in the future. The peck forager, that'll go in there, as well as the wolf. And I've also got the bat and enderman. So all my respawnable guys are in there, ready to go. Alright, so that's part of what I need to get done. Let's move on to the next step. Alright guys, the next thing I want to work with and show you how to use is the spinning wheel. This is going to be actually pretty useful for us and something we're going to want to get our hands on. I'm also getting some string because I know I'm going to need that for my spinning wheel. I've also got a bucket on me. I think I put that away. I don't need that at the moment. I'm going to want maybe some bone meal. Might not be a bad idea. In fact, let me grab just a handful of bones in case. I'll actually just do this. I've got so many bones, don't yell about me not grinding them. I've got that, and I also want, let's see, I've got a couple chests that I'm going to need here. I'm going to need a zombie. Alright, so let's get a safari net with a zombie in it. That should be easy to get our hands on, obviously. And then I think the last thing I'm going to need are some alder saplings. For them ought to do. And I think that's about it. Let's get to work. Real quick, let's get ourselves a zombie. Let's turn the lights off for a moment. And that should quickly get us a zombie or two. Creeper, skeleton. Wrong options. More creepers. I should really set these things up to be remotely accessible, by the way, because now I have to go in there with creepers hanging around, and that's bad. Alright. Oh yeah, the creepers aren't mysteriously dying, are they? Alright, let me get a zombie, and then I'll meet you guys over to where I'm going to do my work. Alright guys, first things first, the spinning wheel. This is yet another machine that does require some power from a nearby altar, so make sure you've got that set up. There's quite a few recipes in here that you can get. You can get a bunch of different threads and twines, and you can also make cobwebs, which is exactly what I'm going to work on here. You can also get golden thread if you string some hay through your spinning wheel, and a whiff of magic. So cobwebs are going to be useful for what we're about to make. So I'm getting my first cobweb here out of the spinning wheel. It's got a nice little animation going on, by the way. Let's see, is there a spot that I can do this over here? I don't see why not. Let's see. I think I should have a bucket of water. Good. It doesn't really need to be done near the altar, so I'll just kind of drop down here and do it. You know what else I might want? Is some shears, if I have them handy. Shears? I thought I had some handy. Do I have any iron handy? I do not. Alright, let me just make a set of shears real fast. Iron 2. There we go. Cool. Oh yeah, I should probably get rid of my little slimealizer thingy so it doesn't beep at me every time I do stuff. Alright, so one of the first things we're going to want to make here is we're going to want to dig into the ground in a pattern like this. Okay, we're going to want to place a bucket of water down. Ta-da! And right here we're going to place a chest. And on the sides of that chest we're going to place some tall grass. And then I should be able to give this guy a good old hit with my mutating sprig. Ta-da! And we've got grasper plants. Cool. These grasper plants are going to be used in just a moment. So that's step 1, graspers. Step 2, I'm going to want, on top of this water, once again it needs to have water there, we're going to want a cobweb. Cool. And on the 4 sides here, we're going to want alder saplings. And trapped inside that cobweb, we want to have a zombie. And then the last thing I want to make sure I have ready is my mutating sprig. Because once I do this, you have to be pretty quick. And go. Zombie go. Ta-da! Nice, we got them. Critter snares, also useful. And luckily you can pick these guys up no problem. It's actually alright if they stayed where they were, because they do actually have to be in that position, but I just wanted to show that it was easy to pick them up without a problem. Okay, so now I've got that stuff laid out. Now I want to make a new animal. So we already used mutandis and all kinds of mutating stuff to mutate different types of creatures. Now we're going to mutate a new creature called the toad. There's actually 3 animals, part of witchery here, that you can use as a familiar, which is basically an advanced form of pet. And the familiar is going to be used to help out with our magic. And you can only have one familiar at a time, and the familiar that I've chosen is the toad. Your other options are a cat or an owl. Owls will help you with your flight. I decided not to go with owl because I can fly pretty well. I don't need any more flight abilities. And I decided that cats are more helpful when you're playing against other players and you want some PvP action going on. So that's not really going to make much sense here either. So owls are good for some of the potion brewing that we're going to get into. So I would like to have an owl, or I'm sorry, a toad as a familiar. So that's going to help out with potion brewing. So in order for this to work, we're going to need, first off, the critter snares. These guys go on the 4 sides of the cobweb above the water, okay? And inside those critter snares, we're going to want some slimes to be captured. So let's make sure that we're ready with that. 1. Let's see if we can just get him caught. Come on, get in the critter snare, you little slime dude. There we go. That's 1. Kind of have to coax him in a little bit. But you'll see them get captured there in the critter snare. And you can actually snare bats and creeper fish and or a couple other things. Or yeah, there we go. Come on, don't get caught in there. Just go into that snare and you'll be in good shape. The last one, always tricky. There we go, nice. Now, on the other sides of this, we're going to want, let's see, I know I want a tuned stone. It needs to be charged. So we do have a charged attuned stone handy. Haha. And then the final piece of this puzzle is some Mutandis Extremis, which I believe I have some left over in my AE system. I left it over there, so let's get that. Mutandis Extremis. We're going to need 3 of them. Good thing I made some extras, huh? And this stuff is going to go in the grasper plants. So the critter snares can capture critters. Grasper plants can hold any item. And they're useful for a few things, but we're going to want 1 charged attuned stone and 3 Mutandis Extremis. And then the final piece of this puzzle is the safari net that holds the ocelot. And then it's just a matter of mutating him. Ta-da! We get toads! Ha! How cool are they? I'm going to snag each of these, actually, in a safari net. They're all a little bit different. You can actually dye them with any dyes, so that's pretty cool. Come here, you guys. I want to make sure you're all captured. Nice! We've got toads. Oh, that is cool. One of these guys is going to be my pet, and the other ones I think I'm going to capture in some kind of area where I'll be able to breed them. You can actually breed them if you want, and get baby toads. Debating if I want to put them in here or not. We'll see. Or if I want to have a separate pen for the toads. I don't know. Alright, so just a small little pen for our toads to hang out in. There you go, guys. Have a good time. Let's see if I can get these guys to... There we are. Nice. Cool. They enjoy hanging out, doing cool stuff. Now you can actually, if you want, breed them using rotten flesh, I believe. Will encourage them to breed. There we go. I think you can also use rotten flesh to tame them. So let's see. Yeah, 2 tame toads will breed, producing a baby toad. Okay, so they have to be tamed first. There we go. This guy feels like getting trapped underground for some reason. I don't know why. Because Minecraft. Alright, guys. Let's go. I want to see the baby toads. Maybe it takes a minute. Anyway, they're tamed, I think. So, give them a few minutes here, and then we'll be back if they decide to have a baby. Oh, there we go. Cool. That's nice. Alright. It is done. So that's how it works. You can have the tamed toads. You can, of course, right-click on them to get them to stay put and not move around if you want. You know, kind of whatever you want. Pretty cool, right? So I'm going to get one of these guys up into my circle magic up there because I need to bind one of these guys as a familiar. Alright guys, we have a couple things we need to do before we can bind this familiar. First off, I'm going to need an attuned stone. So that's why I'm doing this ritual right here, which should charge one of the stones and make it a charged attuned stone. I need 1 charged and 1 not charged. The next thing we're going to need to do is get some refined evil, which is actually several steps in the brewing and processing over here. So let's check out refined evil. We're going to need to get some diamond vapor and a gas tier. Diamond vapor is oil of vitriol and a diamond. Do I have oil of vitriol? I do, good. So I should be able to just distill that. So you and you. And while that's chewing away, I'm going to make sure I have a gas tier handy. Request one of them. Thank you. And that's going to get me the diamond vapor that I need. So let's give this a moment to cook up. Alright guys, we're back. I'm turning one of my ritual chalks that I just crafted here into some infernal chalk. This is going to help with one of the rituals we're about to do. So let's make sure I've got everything I need. Let's see here. I've got my refined evil. So what I want to do is the following. I think I'm going to need to do this. Let's see. Put these diamonds away. I don't think I need them at the moment. I've got to do a little bit of circle magic. We want to summon a demon. And this is not going to be easy or fun, so we should do a couple things to make sure that we're all right. First off, we're going to want to do the rite of imprisonment. Monsters cannot leave the circle. Lasts indefinitely, but requires 16 power a second. And that requires a 7x7 circle. Okay, so that's already down, and it's a white circle that we need, so that's cool. We might actually need some more dirt to expand this area, so let me request a little bit more of that stuff. I don't know how we are for dirt, but we'll find out pretty soon. We're pretty good. It's got like 3 stacks of dirt. I'm going to bump this out real quick and be right back. There we go. All taken care of. Looking good, right? So then the next ritual that we want to do is summoning a demon. And that's done right here. We're going to need some refined evil and a blaze rod and an ender pearl and the 2 attuned stones. So blaze rod, refined evil, an ender pearl, the 2 attuned stones. And for the rite of imprisonment, we need a slime ball and a redstone. So the cool thing about these rites is you can actually do them all together. First off, we need to draw the circle. So let's get that drawn real quick. So that's going to be another space out here, but instead of it being 5, we're going to do 7 on either side. So hopefully this will reach. It'll be a little bit cutting it close to the trees here, but it should be okay. Not you. That doesn't belong there. Sorry. That there and that there. And then another space here. So this is pretty dangerous. I'm not going to lie. This is not a safe thing to be doing at, you know, by any means. But we're going to do our best to make this possible. So let's see here. That should be the circle as it's needed to be done. So you ready to summon a demon? Let's do it. So I think it's about time to give this a shot. So the redstone and slime ball will do the rite of imprisonment, but we're also going to want the attuned stones and the blaze rod and the refined evil and the ender pearl, right? Let's just double check that we've got everything we need there. Refined evil, blaze rod, ender pearl, and 2 attuned stones. So by doing this, these 2 rituals will be performed in tandem. So watch. We'll see the redstone and the slime ball disappear, and then poof, it's activated. Now the other few will go here, and here comes a demon. Here he is. Hello there, sir. How are you? Alright, so for some emeralds, I can get a demon heart. Alright, that doesn't look too bad, to be honest with you. Just need to keep him busy while I get some emeralds. Let's get them. And where's my white bag? Or orange bag, for that matter. You kind of have to be a little bit tricky with him. Did I get the 2 hearts? That's good enough for me. Now, we can either banish him back to the pit, or we can kill him and hope for another demon heart. I think I'm going to try killing him and see how well I can make out. Just like other monsters from Witchery, you're going to want to kill him with the Arthana for the best chance of a rare drop. Which I didn't do just now, because I thought I had more health on him than I did. Alright, well that's fine. I got the 2 demon hearts that I was after, and we saw how to summon the demon, so overall I'm pretty pleased. Note, by the way, that this ritual is still active. This is still trapping monsters in the pit area here, so monsters still won't be able to escape, and you can tell by the little red particle effects that it's still running. You're going to want to right-click it with an empty hand to turn it off, because it is draining power from your altar slowly but surely, you know, to keep stuff going. So now that we've got the demon hearts that we want, I think we're ready to do the final stage, which is binding the familiar. So let me find the ritual of binding here. It shouldn't be too far. It's usually, there it is. Tear of the Goddess, Odor of Purity, Whiff of Magic. And I believe I prepared this stuff ahead of time. Whiff of Magic, Odor of Purity, Tear of Goddess. And I've also got a diamond handy, which I think is also included, and Demonic Blood. So let's see. Demonic Blood. Demon Heart and Diamond Vapor. Okay. So all I need is some Diamond Vapor, which I might have some left. Yes, I do. Cool. Let's distill it. Diamond Vapor and Demon Heart. And while that's cooking up, I'm going to make sure that I've got everything else I need. So that should be it. So all I need is an 11 by 11 of the white chalk. And by the way, we also need an altar with 8,000 power. It's already recharged itself from the summoning we just did, so that's pretty good. So let's get our stuff ready. So we wanted Whiff of Magic, Odor of Purity, Tear of the Goddess, Diamond, and then the last piece is that, and we're also going to want to unleash, I've gotten my golden lasso here, a toad. And that's going to be bound as my familiar. So the distillery is almost done here, and Come on, buddy. There we go. Demonic blood. Luckily, you do get a good amount of this stuff. So let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you hang out right there. And let's activate this ritual. And hooray! We've got Spuds. That's cool. So he has a name, and you also notice that according to Wayla, he has 50 health. So this is good. That means that he is now bound as my familiar. If this guy ever dies, there is a ritual to bring him back to life, so we don't have to worry too much about that. I don't know where it is in here somewhere, but there is a ritual for bringing back something or other. There you go. Summon your familiar that has been dismissed or killed. It all it requires is a breath of the goddess, a hint of rebirth and whiff of magic, and a little bit of 11 or 1,000 altar power. So, if this guy ever dies, or if I, banish him, which I can do, I think it's shift right click or something like that to banish him. But I do want him to stick around because he'll help out. Do note on servers that if this familiar is bound to you pretty heavily, so I believe that if he dies, you die. So keep an eye out for that. If you're playing on a PvP server, you want to watch out. All right, guys. For now, I think that's a good wrapping up point for the episode. We bound ourselves a familiar. We're able to do really good stuff with some of the magic here that we're going to want to be doing. Some cool potion effects are going to be available now to us. There's also one potion per familiar that's only available if you have that familiar, so keep that in mind. The potion that we get is pretty neat. So we've got a lot of stuff completed today. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. This is Direwolf20 signing off. I'm going to clean up my inventory and come back next episode to really start checking out some of the potions and maybe a couple bits more of some magic, and then we might switch gears and start looking at some of the other new mods that were added. I would like to get started with Pneumaticraft pretty soon because there's some really cool stuff in there I'd like to play with. Alright guys, take it easy.